So as Cindy said, I am the Vice President of Global Business for AbleNet. And I have been in the field of assistive technology and educational technology for 14 years. And I have spent the majority of my time out in the field with a variety of organizations, teaching, training, working on research, development, business partnerships, sales, marketing, all the above, with the end goal to make sure that people are excited, interested in utilizing the assistive technology that's available and that we develop the best new technology solutions for the field. So today what we're going to talk about is a little bit of what I discovered most recently in the last 3 years, as Cindy said. In my current role, it was my job to get out of North America, in particular get out of the US, and to spend time in country, cultures, and regions in order to bring knowledge about assistive technology, to bring knowledge about how we can help people with disabilities. But something very interesting happened while I was doing this, is I realized that as I was being brought in to give presentations and working with partners like Bridges to show parents and educators how we were using assistive technology, I was finding some of the most remarkable uses of assistive technology that I had ever seen. And so part of what I want to do today is share with you some of these remarkable examples of assistive technology being used in the classroom and beyond. But also I want you to think about what you're doing back in your setting, in your home, your hospital, your classroom, and how it's remarkable and how you might not even know it. And this is the key. At the end of this session, I want to make sure that we understand the conduits that we can use to share the ways in which we're using AT. This is our biggest struggle right now, right? Connectivity, and that's the theme of my session today. How can we take these easy tech tools and connect them together in new ways to get us excited about using the tools? Well, it's also about connecting with each other so that we can share these great examples. So that the way that someone's using a switch and a power link and a power drill in Japan isn't trapped in Japan, that we know how we might want to utilize these new ways here, in Canada. So just briefly, a little bit about AbleNet. How many of you are familiar with AbleNet? I just want to get a baseline here. Okay, so only half. Wow. How many of you are familiar with Medentech or Tash? Okay, so these are some other companies or other brands that are all part of the AbleNet family. So we produce access, communication, environmental control, and content curriculum, and we produce over 700 solutions today, okay? So ways in which someone can access a wheelchair or a computer, ways in which someone can communicate who's nonverbal or non-vocal out in the community at a McDonald's to place an order, ways in which they can control their lights, ways in which all of these things can come together in a classroom, okay, so that someone can be included, be in control, and be successful. And that's what we're going to talk about. So I have brought, with Cindy's help and Bridget's help, just a core selection of products. Okay, but keep in mind that it's our job to provide you with the best materials. And we don't have 700 here today. We have about 30, okay? So we have over 500 resellers in 65 countries. And again, as I said, we're growing to meet the needs of people with disabilities. So today we're going to talk about these areas: access, communication, environmental control. We're going to look at some remarkable resources, some of which are free. Do we love free? I just want to be, okay, good, because we love free. And then some remarkable ideas. And this is an interactive session, even though we are being live streamed, by the way. If anyone wants to know, I think you'll be able to look at this later. So these are the areas that we're going to talk about today. So I'd like to start with a remarkable resource that I happened upon on YouTube. And by the way, how great is YouTube for what we do? Okay? Here's my first message to you. If there's anything that I can do to encourage you to videotape utilizing assistive technology in the classroom, let me know. Anything. This is a core core piece of demonstration technology that we are trying to get more people. People look to us for videos all the time. They say, I need more videos of how you use computer access. I need more videos. Well, for me, videos are really most powerful if they're not produced by a company, but if they're produced by a teacher, right, or by a parent. So I'd like to start with a video that I found by an educator I had never met, based in Florida, who is utilizing switches. And switches are our access tools, right? Now, I asked how many of you knew AbleNet, and only about a third of you raised their hand. How many of you have ever used a big red switch? Raise your hand. Okay, so this is AbleNet. This is where we started 25 years ago. Okay, but this is just one of the 50 switches that we have. So let's look at Dr. Laz. Okay, I'm just going to frame this for you. This is a video that this teacher took before the talent show that he put together. It's a 5-minute video. We're only going to have time to look at about 2.5 minutes of it, okay? Please just Google switch, S.W.I.T.C.H, okay? And you'll be able to find this, or Dr. Laz. Here, he put together this video showing how he utilized switches for all of the students, okay, to be included in a talent show.
Got the remote down here. The picture in the background. You just move your head, and then you're just going to move your switch. Can you lift up your head for one second? Okay, let me switch this way. All right, we got the switch back there. Okay, Mikey. And we got the remote down here. On the ring.
Okay, so what we're looking at is the student with the switch. Did anyone see that? Did everyone see that switch, I should say? Anyone know what kind of switch that was? For a prize? That was a jelly bean switch, okay? And that jelly bean switch is a smaller size than the big red, so that way it's more compact and can go right in the back of where the child was seated in the wheelchair, okay? But in addition, he had that switch attached to a wireless transmitter. Now, we had a meeting earlier today with Smartboard Technologies. How many of you have access to a smartboard? Just wondering. Okay, what's the challenge with smartboards and switches in the classroom? The challenge is wires. That's my son's name, Milo. Sorry. He's 6 months old, so I'm in that stage. Are wires, okay? So everything that we're going to look at today, almost everything, has the ability to go wireless, okay? So when you're thinking about switches and you're thinking about access, I need you to think, and we'll talk about this in just a minute, okay, I need to find the right access tool for this student, but then I need to make it wireless. And those are two separate steps, okay? Because we make tools that you can plug in any switch to make it wireless. And in this case, Dr. Laz is using something called an IntelliSwitch, okay, which we make, that's branded from a company called Medentech, okay, the IntelliSwitch. So he's making it wireless, and the IntelliSwitch is linking up to a computer, and on that computer is a PowerPoint, okay? And with the software in PowerPoint, whenever the student is hitting his head switch, it's turning to the next slide. That's it, okay? That's how he's including him wirelessly. You could do the same thing with scanning with a smartboard, okay? So that someone doesn't have to go up to the smartboard. They can be positioned anywhere in the classroom, okay? We'll look more at wireless. Let's continue just for a minute. There's another switch, another kind of switch.
your MC for this afternoon's show. And I'm talking about none other than Yusufa, Yusufa. And Yusufa will be introducing the app using his niece.
Okay, that's a little hard to hear. But that connectivity that Yusuf was using right there at the end was a switch connected to what? Does anyone know what it was connected to? It was a small communication device called a Little Mac, okay, which I can tell you have improved in sound quality since this video was made, which is good news, okay? So there you can see he was in charge of introducing the entire talent show. And this is another theme that you will see throughout the examples that we'll talk about today, which is we put the student or the individual with the disability in control. Okay, and so please look out for that in these examples, that we want to see if we can put them in control. Number two, another remarkable resource that I love right now, which is a result of the question that I just asked 10 minutes ago. What can I do? What can I do to have you spread the word about what you're doing in your area? This is a blog that is currently being populated on an ongoing basis in Spain. I've done quite a bit of work in Spain. And there, they keep track of all of their presentations, all of the work that they're doing with the kids, and they post videos about it. Okay? And they have permission to do this, and this is all because of this. When I was in Spain for the 12th time in the last 2 years, I realized I stopped. I said, look, I can't come here anymore. You have to start doing this. And this is what's happening, okay? So think about that, and come to me at the end of the session if there's anything I can do to help. So as we look for remarkable new ways to use the technology, there's something that we have to do to get it right, right? This is our job, to make sure that the individual is using the right technology to be successful, okay? And I'm calling this a kind of a needs assessment, and for today's conversation, we're going to always look at these 4 areas. Access, right? What type of access aids do they need? Communication, if they need a communication aid, what's available and what do they need? Environmental control. How can we use these tools to control their environment? And finally, the content and curriculum. Okay? Now, we develop all of these things. Okay? Today, our content and curriculum is not going to be something that we've developed, but the content and curriculum are these remarkable ideas that we've found around the world. Okay? So, here's the core question, right? And because I think some of you are new to some of these tools, this is the question that we struggle to answer, and we're committed to answer, which is how do I include my students in the classroom, right? Okay? Or what can I do if my students or clients can't complete an activity on their own? And that's the fundamental basis for which these products are developed, and it's called partial participation. Okay? So partial participation means that the student with a disability can be included and can do part of a task. Right? They don't have to do the whole task, but they can be included to do part. But that needs to be real and functional. Okay? The outcome must be valuable. Right? It's not busy work. The outcome is something that's going to be enjoyed by all. Okay? And this was originally first promoted all the way back in 1982, okay, from this TASH journal, the idea of partial participation. And again, I'm trying to learn now about where you are in terms of AT. How many of you are aware of the concept of partial participation? Just raise your hand. Half? Okay. Good. Excellent.